Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside Gaming for Monday.
Hey, it's Clap Monday. We're clapping for Monday. We did it.
There was someone on the internet that was mad about how loud the intros always are. Guess what? It's YouTube. We gotta clap sometimes. If you were wondering if WWE 2K20 got fixed over the weekend, we've got some bad news for you.
Yeah, it's still a buggy, glitchy mess, and publisher 2K finally responded to the outcry after fans spent days posting hilariously broken gameplay.
Yeah, they're not done yet. We got a fresh crop. It's good to go out in the fields. Oh, the harvest has been kind this year.
It's a disaster.
So there's good news and bad news. The good news is that 2K knows how pissed off everyone actually is.
But the bad news is that it's still going to be weeks before they fix it.
Yeah, so surprise! It's mostly bad news.
In a tweet from the game's official account, 2K said that, quote, "We are listening closely to the feedback that's been shared regarding WWE 2K20 and are aware of the concerns some players are reporting."
It's not a mystery. They knew the game was busted when it shipped. I don't understand what ground there is to be gained there, but that's not all they said, Autumn, is it?
They went on to say, "We're working hard to investigate these concerns and address them as necessary. We expect to have an initial patch ready in the next 2 weeks with others to follow. Stay tuned to WWE Games social media channels for more information." Do you think they're all just sitting in a room watching the Twitter feed scroll by?
Just feeling
Yeah.
a lot?
What if it really was a surprise and they're like, "We've done it," and then they like pop the
Another
bottle of
year in the
champagne,
books.
and
Wow.
then somebody runs in, they're like, "I think you're gonna want to see this." Oh no, the game's bad. And of course, people responded with even more glitches, with floating chairs, wrestlers falling over without getting attacked, and drop kicks that do no damage.
I mean, drop kicks aren't supposed to do damage. That's stiffing somebody. It's bad ring etiquette.
Not to me. I have a strong core.
At least there's a patch coming, even if it is 2 weeks away, and honestly, it'll probably need a lot more than that if that patch even hits. Some people are getting ground up right now, working on a patch for a busted-ass game, and they're not gonna get any thanks for that.
If anything, they're gonna get more abuse online.
Yeah, they're gonna get on.
Since then, the game's account has continued promoting the game, though,
Yay!
retweeting a clip of wrestler Heath Slater watching his daughters play it.
Really warms your heart. And NBA star Dwight Howard appeared on an episode of Xbox Sessions to promote it as well.
That is promotion, and you gotta keep that promotion machine rolling.
We have a calendar! It's written on the dry erase board! Get Dwight Howard on the phone!
Hey Dwight, I don't know if you saw the news, but you did. Oof. Okay, well, I mean,
Dwight's bad.
do you have any daughters?
How many?
No, you're right, I shouldn't have asked that. That was, that was weird. How do I hide this? They're clearly not giving up on the game, which is good news for everyone who bought it.
But bad news for a lot of other people. It's getting worse, isn't it, Autumn?
Yeah, even though patches are apparently incoming, some people still want their money back.
Yeah.
I'd say understandably.
Why?
Yeah, 2K's support team has apparently been flooded with complaints about the game. They tweeted to one customer, "We're receiving more tickets than normal. Rest assured, we're doing everything we can to get to your case. Thanks for your patience." Again, it's them all sitting in a room just being so surprised.
Social media manager is halfway through a bottle of like Red Label. They're like, "We're working on it."
We've been seeing reports that Sony is giving refunds to PlayStation 4 owners. Twitter users have been posting screenshots of getting refunds for the various editions of the game. Dudes are showing they're like, "I did it, I got my money back." It's cute.
It's with the same energy of like a young couple buying a house.
Yeah.
Like it's just a picture of some nerd.
Carrying his check over the threshold of his apartment.
One player, Friday Night Tapdown, requested a refund saying that the game was broken, and a PlayStation representative issued a refund. And,
What a winding narrative that is.
wow. Beginning, middle, end, somewhere in the belly of the whale, and then out.
I cried.
You would.
You guys thought Autumn wasn't hard? Look at her.
He's a hard cracker.
Maybe Connor has a dark history too.
Yeah, I have a
wouldn't be
Yakuza
surprised
tattoo.
at
You know
all.
what? Another day.
Your ass tattooed over your ass.
I got my ass contoured, check it out.
Put my ass on my
Yeah, no problem. I got you.
There are more people on Twitter celebrating the return of their long lost money, right, Autumn?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Another player, Ronan Stylix, said that they got one too, but it's not clear if that's actually a uniform policy because we saw another tweet from player Macho Love.
Hell
who
yeah.
said Sony told them they couldn't issue a refund because they played the game.
Played the unplayable game.
Yeah.
You're beyond the Rubicon, my man. So maybe it's a case of people only getting refunds if they just download it, but never actually played it. I don't know, maybe download it, yank that network cable out, play on offline, and then be like, I never started it. Who's
Who's
to
gotta
say?
have metrics for that, right?
Yeah, John Metrics, he's hanging from the roof of your apartment watching you.
With a notepad. As for Sony's official policy, if you buy digitally, you have 14 days from the date of purchase to request a refund. But Sony says, quote, "If you started to download or stream the purchased content, you are not eligible for a refund unless the content is faulty."
That implies an interesting question, whether or not Sony considers WWE 2K20 faulty, or if people are getting refunds under the 14-day purchase rule. I imagine within the next couple of days, we'll have enough use cases to sort of set that out. But it's been a mess for 2K, obviously, after releasing a game that clearly wasn't ready and then trying to patch it before anyone noticed, which didn't work at all.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite of a famous Miyamoto quote. "A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad." I remember exactly where I was when he said that.
So sage, yeah.
Staten Island.
The funny thing is, lately we've seen some publishers and devs doing the opposite, being more open about delaying games and the reasons behind it.
Yeah, what happened in a recent blog post, Autumn?
Ooh.
Did happen recently with The Last of Us 2, I know, blog post.
Hark! A blog post! He busts into the 2K room while they're passing around a bottle of whiskey. There's been a blog post!
Director Neil Druckmann said that it's delaying about 3 months. It'll now be out May 29th instead of February 21st. During the last few weeks, he said, as we were closing out sections of the game that we realized we simply didn't have enough time to bring the entire game up to a level of polish we would call Naughty Dog quality. Which, you know what? I respect that.
Yeah, good on them.
They're doing the same thing with Animal Crossing, which infuriates me.
I respect that.
What's Dwight Howard's calendar looking like? He's booked!
How does Dwight feel about peach trees?
How old will those daughters be?
Can we get him a new daughter?
Guys, we're so sorry. We have to delay for a year. Dwight Howard's daughters are not available. Similar situation for Doom Eternal, which hurt me quite a bit. Follow-up to the highly successful Doom 2016 reboot will now release on March 20th of next year instead of next month. Good news is it gives me more time to beat the game in Ultra Nightmare. We'll see. Got to stage 5. That's exciting.
Yeah.
In a letter from id Software, they said they're bumping it back a few months for Doom Eternal to live up to our standards of speed and polish.
But for whatever the reason, 2K decided to push out WWE 2K20 no matter the state of the game. Maybe it was because of that yearly release schedule that they seem committed to. It's pretty clear that polish was not a priority here. And behind the scenes, there was a shakeup as well in terms of who was developing the game.
Yeah, this all is pretty interesting, and there's probably a full narrative we'll never actually get to know, but we do know that 2K recently parted ways with Japanese developer HEYYYY, which has made wrestling and fighting games since the early 90s. This is one of those like grindhouse Japanese devs. They've been pushing out game after game after game, like at least one a year for the last around 2 decades. It's pretty wild.
Wow. HEYYYY decided to go off and make their own wrestling game, but obviously that left a huge void to be filled. And considering that these games have a yearly release schedule, it was going to be a tough job for whoever filled HEYYYY's shoes.
Who was that? It's a 2K in-house studio, Visual Concepts. They've done a lot of pinch hitting for other 2K studios. It's kind of similar to what Activision does with developers like Beanox and High Moon. They just sort of pass them around to Call of Duty or what have you. Clearly, something got bungled in that transition though, probably because it went from a studio that used to help participate in development to doing all the development themselves. Turns out reviews were awful. We're finally seeing aggregate scores up. It's got a 40 on OpenCritic. Over on Metacritic, the Xbox One version has a 39 and the PS4 version has a 38.
Jesus Christ.
Boy, that'll really cramp the roof of your mouth.
It's the oldest sound effect that exists.
Aww. What did IGN have to say about the game?
IGN called it a buggy mess, but they added that its gameplay also feels notably worse than previous years.
Games Radar's review said it, quote, played like a work in progress demo that's yet to be stress tested.
It's also got mostly negative user reviews on Steam. Always honest, those Steam reviews. As for sales, we don't have hard data yet, but it did debut in the number 3 spot on the UK charts. That's just for in-store physical sales though. Makes you wonder what UK's return policy is. Hopefully it's pretty generous.
All in all, it's a terrible look for the franchise, and it's now up there with Anthem as one of the worst launches of the year, and you can be sure we'll be doing a dozen more videos in the next month about it.
One can hope. Welcome to the Hall of Shame, WWE 2K20. We usually like to do full reporting here, give you the full story, but let's do something a little different today. We're gonna welcome ourselves to the Hall of Shame and run down some of the nominees for worst game releases of all time, so we can kind of see what typically happens when something like this hits the market. So there was, of course, No Man's Sky fiasco a few years ago when fans revolted over the game that promised a lot and delivered very, very little, even though in fairness, it's a lot better now. That's what people say. It's still the same game to me. I haven't changed my mind because that's what real smart people do.
I did my annual reinstall and then subsequent re-delete 4 days later because I jump in and I go, copper.
Shot a bunch of rocks.
Yeah, pretty much. Drones.
Okay.
More drones. Shoot the, more. More. Wow, more. Okay, I guess I'll just die.
I'm already dead, please.
At the time, Steam and Good Old Games gave refunds even if you played over Steam's 70-hour limit, or if you went past GOG's 30-day money-back guarantee limit.
And what about Aliens Colonial Marines, Autumn?
That was a huge mess, and back in 2014, Sega of America had to pay $1.25 million to settle complaints that it had falsely advertised the game and used fake demos of the game at E3.
It's interesting when a dust up like that is actually true. Unlike like Spider-Man Puddlegate or whatever, like, we just moved a puddle, assholes, chill out. No, they actually did lie, and Aliens Colonial Marines, cool stuff. And there's the granddaddy that still won't leave headlines, Fallout 76. Game was a complete mess, but hey, they fixed all that now, sort of, with a subscription service that everyone loves. It's introduced class warfare to the wastelands.
I saw that, where a bunch of first players were like, we need to bunker down and not let in those.
We need to build a wall.
No more 76ers.
Art imitates life. That's not right, but it works in this situation.
More like fart imitates life. Dwight Howard.
The rallying cry for the neglected gamer.
Dwight Howard. Mighty Number 9 was a crowdfunded game that had a ton of expectations behind it, and it was terrible.
Yeah, there's also 2013 SimCity that basically sunk the whole franchise and Maxis as a developer. But the all-time champion might be E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the video game, which came out for the Atari 2600 in 1982. Based on the blockbuster movie, it was garbage and was a major failure for Atari. It even helped cause the entire industry to crash just a year later.
That's so cool.
It's so metal, dude.
That's awesome. It's the most like bull in a china shop, like, ah!
We're gonna be rich!
Time will tell if WWE 2K20 will have a long-lasting negative impact, but as of right now, it doesn't look good.
Given that the sales are declining, unlike NBA 2K, which has broken to such a mass market that they can survive a couple of road bumps, I think WWE 2K, its sales units are already really low. Last year was under 1.5 million. You can't stand to take knocks like this to your brand. And honestly, I think WWE as a company isn't gonna be very happy with all this negative press they're getting. So I expect pretty big changes for 2K21. I have my own conspiracy theories about this, but yeah, I do think that this incident will cause some rumbles down the road. We may not see what those are, but hopefully there's some very angry phone calls happening right now.
They should rebrand it as an MMO.
I got new shoes, man.
Oh
They're
my
like
God.
they're making my feet all weird. They look good. I think they're too small.
Does the WWE send its wrestlers to solve disputes?
They should. Yeah, they're Tetris Pumas. I'm continuing my legacy of buying shoes that look like they belonged on 90s Nickelodeon.
Are you a gamer?
I might be a gamer.
Are you gay?
I can't be white. I'm gay.
Seizure-inducing brawls outside the ring, so that's fun for everybody.
We're in uncharted waters. I don't know if I should start talking over this, or... There was also a wrestler who won his ladder match with a pinfall, which is not how you win a ladder match, but hey, a win is a win.
Hair was also an issue. So